Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, late, tired, and anything for our topic today except happy because a bit of a contractual dispute over for a lot of New York Giants fans expecting two of our top players to be happy to extend any type of possibility they have over playoff contention after the New York Giants coming out of a massive playoff drought, not making the playoffs since 2018 and not even winning a playoff game since winning their last Super Bowl. And now there's been contractual disputes over for Daniel Jones, fourth-year quarterback for the New York Giants, that had a showout performance over in the postseason and came back after an underwhelming season last season and on the season before, but this time picking up a massive playoff win against the Minnesota Vikings that was primarily one-sided. And of course, all-pro running back and a bit older now, Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones is trying to ask for a few years, $45 million after playing 15 over his last 16 games, over a majority of his starts, going 9 of 6, 67% completion rating, and around 3,200 of passing yards over 15 of 5. And that's around a 6.8 passer rating. Daniel Jones actually showed out for majority of what happened with their offense, with their lack of receiving core. His mobility passing up for the compensation for yardage, and the defense carrying for what happened for lackluster performances of offensive drives that had them at least second best in the division around a competitive NFC East around last season that the Dallas Cowboys made it but fell short in the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers after shutting out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, most people would be a bit complacent, or some people would actually be, somewhat, non-negotiable about we should give Daniel Jones the money for passable production. Good consistency for the tenure because I feel like you can always replace over your running back. Saquon, all-pro year for him. He plays a more physical style, and losing our the Giants losing their second string halfback and playing a more rushing football. They wouldn't even have that much production over their scoring drives if it wasn't for Saquon. So it's either franchise Daniel or pay both. Either way, somebody got to end up over the happy camper at the end of the day because Giants have established $43 million over cap space for a playoff caliber roster last season with a collection of draft picks to still build around over the offseason. And knowing the primordial target over the offseason for the Giants could be the wide receiver position, I can actually see some moves the Giants can actually make to actually make a massive difference. Oh, by the way, RJ Hampton was waived. Wasn't that guy like a first-round pick? So, if guys are just concerned who's over in free agency for the NFL offseason, we got to look at the wide receiver position. And let me tell you, Nelson Agholor did not perform that impressively over in his time in New England after his showout years after first season in New England. Sterling Shepard, I don't know how much you're going to keep an aging receiver that hasn't put up the most production since Odell Beckham was back on the team, so he could actually look good. An aging Randall Cobb that's around 32 years old. DJ Chark that kind of that was kind of wasted over in Detroit. And that was after we thought Kenny Galladay would be a sneak signing for the Giants. It seems like Isaiah Hodgins been the only upside for that. But there's also Byron Pringle that's not that bad, but no, I don't think worth premier money. Allen Lazard should be a major signee for the Giants. At least number 2, number 3 receiver that can pick up massive yards, trustworthy over the deep ball, and that's been Daniel Jones' issue. Allen Lazard possibly could also go to Jacksonville. Jakobi Meyers, even though we know his shoddy play. Juju Smith-Schuster, that's going to be a free agent this offseason, and he's unrestricted this season. Jarvis Landry, after his stint in New Orleans, didn't go well. And, of course, N'Keal Harry. But I think most people are going to be concerned over Jamison Crowder after we thought that he was going to do well over in Buffalo, but wasn't even getting most touches. Honestly, I think it was Dawson Knox, still Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis that had an outstanding 2020 season, and of course Stephon Diggs. And we thought Jamison Crowder was going to spread over the field a lot more. I know damn well Sammy Watkins is going to be the last one out for options like again. Zach Pascal, another good, decent signing, but not really premier receiving option unless you want to snatch Nicole Hardman. That's a massive speedster on the team. So it's either Byron Pringle, Nicole Hardman that the Giants could get because they need those speedster slots that can make their own plays off massive yardage. So Daniel Jones really needs somebody to throw off the short pass. That it's possible to make something out of nothing. You need those type of players. The Giants need players like that. Or Marvin Jones. But he's only 32 years old. So it's Allen Lazard as well that's possibly going to be making a bunch of money. And his market value comes over at least $12.5 million over annual salary. And around $37 million for 3 years. So that's a possibility that'll be ranking over with him as the 28th ranked wide receiver. After having a productive year over with already a lackluster receiving core in Green Bay. And I know Green Bay's possibly still not willing to contend because, of course, Aaron Rodgers is guessing if he wants to join the Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. I know damn well they don't need Ezekiel Elliott. But that's just free agent options for the Giants. They could draft a wide receiver, and that's always a double-edged sword, like trying to sign a lineman. You don't know how raw they are. That doesn't mean they're always going to be produced. Like Chris Olave, that produced well over for the New Orleans Saints over the last season with a fantastic rookie year. It's not always going to be guaranteed you're going to get the type of production. And we know Giants always trying to play it big over with the veteran receivers like they did with Brandon. Was it Brandon Cooks? No, not Brandon Cooks. It's either Brandon Jennings or somebody else. And he barely got... Brandon Marshall. And it didn't go up to high standard over what was supposed to be a stacked receiving core for Odell Beckham before he left. So they could either trade for some assets for a top receiver. It's dependent if Cooper Kupp still wants to stay in LA, where we're possibly not going to know what's going to happen with Terry McLaurin. That could be a massive trade. especially over your divisional opponents. That's even judging if they're still even gonna still have a starting caliber roster. A quarterback to still play. With their inconsistency, and they were still in the playoff hunt. Or Mike Evans could be a massive signee after Tom Brady leaving, and free agency options is possibly going to be run thin. I don't even know if Derek Carr is even going to go there. And we'll probably have a video over on Derek Carr's choices for teams where he's possibly going to play, because it's either one team in the AFC East, and that's possibly going to be the New York Jets, or it's going to be 3 out of the 4 teams out of the AFC South, because we know Jacksonville possibly got their guy in Trevor Lawrence. Tennessee's pretty iffy over their sophomore quarterback issue, and of course still keeping Tannehill under wraps with his health hazard. Or the Houston Texans, knowing that Davis Mills is possibly not going to be the number 1 action after he literally peaked in his rookie year. Or they're possibly just going to focus on the draft to get a new quarterback. So just a lot of questions to be asked around the offseason for the New York Giants and what they're going to do over with Daniel Jones. I feel like it's a bit of impatience, like I've covered earlier. There's always impatience, and this could possibly be the same way that they've handled over Lamar Jackson or Deebo Samuels when it comes to they're good, but I don't know if we should pay them like they're that good. But, now that the offseason's upon us, even though there is football being played with the XFL, we don't know what to expect. And that's always the most exciting part of the NFL, or at least a highlight for what happens over the majority of the year. And it's always big over the offseason moves, knowing how much star power still resides in the NFL. Tell me how you guys think down below. Comment who you think is gonna go where over the offseason, or what's gonna happen over in the situation that we talked about today. Thanks for watching the DST show. Like, comment, and subscribe.